The AASHTO standard is 5-foot bike lane, 10-foot car lane, and we already know 10 feet works. 10 feet is the lane going down Beach Road. 10 feet is the lanes coming across East Avenue. So, why would one want to make it? Why would one want to encourage cars that already have, 4,000 pounds of steel and airbags, a little more space to drive faster, and leave just not quite enough space for somebody? When I'm going on my bike, I'm about 2.5 feet wide, and I'd like to have a few inches to signposts over here, and a few inches to some truck's mirror, pickup truck's mirror coming here. And I think I'm entitled to that. You talked about somebody talked there about the critical mass being an important thing. Part of the reason that I bicycle is because it's the right thing to do. Like, for reasons of climate change and everything else, people are going to have to start biking. So I know I'm risking my life a little bit to do it, but I think I'm entitled to 5 feet, and cars can take 10 feet because that's the federal standard. Sorry.
And well said. And I'll just add, reiterating the Strawberry Hill Avenue, that's on our agenda, and I think we can just end it at the discussion that we will come back to visit to fix the north end of Strawberry Hill, which was the first bike lanes put into the city. And we attributed that to a learning curve by the engineers in DPW. They were going by inadequate state standards, for one, and they had never done it before. But they also, honestly, they're not cyclists. So most of them. So we have those odd places where the bike lanes end in a travel lane, and that's given bike lanes a bad name all over the city. We know that's a problem. We've known it's a problem, and there are certain members of our DPW said, so even very recently, that there was no problem with those. And so now I think that the understanding is we're going to go back and fix them. We're going to taper the bike lanes over to the curb, and we're going to have sharrows through the intersection so that a child bicycling to school, because that was done with Safe Routes to School funding, will understand where they're supposed to go. You really don't want to ever dump a bike lane into a travel lane where all of a sudden you're surrounded by cars trying to turn.
Sidewalk for around the.
Or you can share the sidewalk. I mean, that's been done on.
That's what I do personally when I drive there.
Okay.
I just
go up on the sidewalk.
Just 20 yards, and then back down on the.
And it's funny because our bike standard, the state bike standards, and even AASHTO and NACTO don't address that particular situation. But what they've just done, with the bike bill, this conversation is going around, but it's really important. The bike bill that just was passed last week, or I think it's awaiting the governor's signature, but it passed almost unanimous in the Senate and the House in the state. That's basically allowing communities and municipalities more flexibility in design. But the transitway in Stamford has the bike lane going up onto the sidewalk at one point near a bus stop. And it's green, and it's painted green, and it's literally next to the sidewalk, and then it goes back down. And I've seen those all over the world. But our standards, it's really up to, we have unique situations in every city, and if we do follow, like in the Northern Strawberry Hill followed state standards, they really didn't deal with how bike lanes go through intersections. So they followed the standard, and then when they got to the intersection, they went, "Oh, we don't know what to do." They stopped it.
Yeah, nothing.
And there was that, and so people do. I think that understandably, we totally get when there are letters to the editor that say these things don't work. Well, it was done in the previous administration, and it was an attempt that basically was noble, but was not 100% effective. And we're trying to improve safety.
That's why it's important to get it right the first time, because now if we want to repair it and make it right, it's going to cost money to either grind out or to cover over and then redo the lane. So rather than rush to get something done, take your time and get it done right. So this way it's one expense, it's done right, it's done consistently. I think the big issue here is consistency around the community, so it's not confusing. Make it so that people know what they're going to see and when they see the bike lanes.
I think it's unfortunate.
I was going to say he deserves the last word on that. It sounds great, but go ahead.
Well, I think it's unfortunate that it's going to be quite expensive because these incorrectly drawn lanes were done, without any consultation with cyclists. But I think it needs to be fixed, even though it's going to be expensive per mile, because it creates confusion in the mind of the public about how do bike lanes work and are they workable. And if you and the council agree that this should be a priority for this year, we'd like to work with DPW to tell them how